Good morning. Welcome to the forecast discussion for July 2nd, 2012. It's going to be a short work week for many people throughout the northern Mid-Atlantic, but still a hazy, hot, and humid one at that. So let's take a look at the latest observations. You can see over the New York City metropolitan area, we have a little bit less humidity this morning. Temperatures range from the lower to mid 70s for most locations. The Hudson River Valley are in the mid to upper 60s for the most part. Of course, Messina is in the lower 60s. It's a cool spot over the northern Mid-Atlantic. Over northeastern Pennsylvania, we're already pushing into the upper 60s, but the hot spot is clearly over southeastern Pennsylvania and the Philadelphia metropolitan area, where temperatures are already pushing into the mid 70s to lower 80s. Philadelphia is already pushing into the lower 80s, in fact, with dew points in the 60s, making for a rather humid morning. Now, with clear skies dominating much of the northern Mid-Atlantic, we are generally enjoying a very nice and pleasant morning for the most part for your morning rush hour. But I do think we're going to be dealing with some very hot temperatures for this afternoon. I am staying well above the model guidance on the temperatures, and I'm going to show you why in just a moment. But the fact of the matter is that I think the Philadelphia metropolitan area will be the hottest spot in the northern Mid-Atlantic, with temperatures pushing into the lower to mid 90s. I mean, after all, we're already in the lower 80s as of 9 a.m. And I would not be surprised if we range anywhere from 90 to 95 over the Philadelphia metropolitan area, the Delaware River Valley, all the way up to around Newark. So let's take a look at the water vapor satellite picture. Now, the key point here that I want to kind of highlight here is this black and red area. This is a sign, should I say, of sinking air. Why is this important? Well, sinking air does two things. One, it suppresses the development of thunderstorms, and two, as air sinks, it warms. So as a result, what we're seeing here is a lot of sinking air focused over the Philadelphia metropolitan area. So while humidity is going to be lower than what it has been the past 2 days, even for the Philadelphia metropolitan area, we're still going to see temperatures spike up quite a bit to around 90 in New York City and lower to mid 90s over the Philadelphia metropolitan area. If you're right along the coast, I'm talking about Long Island and the New Jersey coast, there is a chance of seeing a sea breeze front, and so as a result, we should see temperatures ranging in the upper 80s to lower 90s, falling back into the lower to mid 80s behind that sea breeze front. That could spark a few showers or thunderstorms this afternoon. We've got to keep an eye on that. I'm also going to keep an eye on the disturbances that are diving through basically the St. Lawrence River Valley and eastern Great Lakes, especially around Lake Ontario. These disturbances could produce an isolated shower or thunderstorm over the Hudson River Valley, Connecticut, and possibly into northern New Jersey. Something to keep an eye on. Not a huge threat, but still something to watch. All the severe thunderstorms are going to be to the south of this boundary. And so as a result, if you're in, West Virginia, North Carolina, unfortunately, not only are you going to deal with very hot temperatures, but you're also going to have to watch out for the potential for strong to severe thunderstorms once again. Keep an eye on that. It could be rather dangerous, as we've been seeing over this weekend. Taking a look at the infrared satellite picture, skies are clearing out. The showers over Cape May County earlier this morning are exiting out into the Atlantic. Expect clearing skies and dry conditions for the most part for most locations. Again, there is a threat for an isolated shower or thunderstorm. That's pretty much going to be the theme all the way on through this week and into next weekend. Using the European model guidance, let's take a look at the forecast here. Again, the GFS is having its cold bias issues, so I'm not really following that model, especially the MOS model guidance, staying above that for the most part. As you can see, once again, our ridge remains very much in place over the Mississippi River Valley. We have a weak trough pretty much focused over the Canadian Maritimes. We are in between that trough and ridge, which basically means we stay above normal in temperatures, but we're nowhere near as hot as what we're seeing in portions of the Mississippi River Valley, where temperatures are ranging anywhere from the mid 90s to, lower 100 teens. Rather impressive for this time of year. As we move on through the forecast period, that ridge will remain in place all the way through this week, keeping us very warm, very toasty. Now, and when you see a pattern like this, where you got a 588 decameter, 500 millibar pattern, that basically means two things. One, is going to get very hot, and two, any thunderstorm development that does occur is going to be isolated and driven by mid-level disturbances. kind of like what we've been seeing. So really, I don't really see any major change in the weather pattern all the way on through this week and into this upcoming weekend. So as a result, expect temperatures basically to range from the upper 80s to lower 90s along the immediate coast, lower to mid 90s away from the coast for the most part. Look for a returning humidity starting tonight as that boundary lifts north and east. And so what I'm expecting is, again, hazy, hot, and humid weather conditions almost every day throughout this week into this weekend, with a threat for an isolated shower or thunderstorm from the late evening hours through the early morning hours each and every day. Rinse and repeat. That's pretty much what we're in for. Now, as we move in towards the long-range weather patterns towards next week, I do see a slight break in this hot and humid weather pattern. I'm not talking about below normal temperatures, but we will be at the base of this trough, and that does mean we'll have a potential of seeing some lower humidity and temperatures more likely in the mid to upper 80s rather than the lower to mid 90s away from the coast and lower 80s along the coast. So there is going to be a bit of a sign of a break in this hot and humid weather pattern for a short time, but don't be surprised to see this ridge re-amplify and build right back towards the east coast once again as this trough weekends. And that's pretty much what we're going to see all the way on through much of this summer. So that is your forecast pattern for today. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. You can follow the latest weather information at nynjpaweather.com and nynjpaweather on Twitter and Facebook. Have a wonderful day. Stay safe out there.